Welcome back, nerds. For this project, I am going to be making a sort of memorial out of a vacuum tube. And this project is brought to you by Woodworkers Guild of America. This is the vacuum tube I'm going to be using. For the younger crowd, this is what electronics used to run on. Think VCRs and Game Boys. This one specifically is a 6AB4, reportedly first produced in 1949 for the real nerds out there. And I got this, this glass dome that I'd like to put it under and put it on display. And I'll get to why a little later. Those of you familiar with these will know that they glow when turned on, much like myself and your mom. Some types will glow due to ionized gas. For the most part though, like this one, they would glow because there's a heating element in there, pretty much like a filament in a light bulb. For the younger crowd, light bulbs used to have these filaments in there, and when you run electricity. I was able to dig up a data sheet on this one, and the different pins are, of course, for connecting different parts of this. So what I want is just the heating element. Pin 3 and pin 4 are the heater, and the voltage is 6.3 volts. By the way, if you're wondering what the point of the heating element is, it's to raise the temperature of the cathode to the point that it can properly emit electrons. But that's as technical as I'm going to get because that's as much as I can memorize off of Wikipedia. So I've got a power supply here. I just need to set it to 6.3 volts. Then I connect the leads to pins 3 and 4, and then turn it on, and there's the glow. It's not much of a glow, but that's all right. Actually, let's turn the lights down. There you go. There you can see it. Unfortunately, in this design, the reason you can't see all of it is because it's actually running through the cathode. Most of it's hidden. So yeah, it's not much of a glow, but for this, it'll do. All right, so that, wow, I cut that perfectly. That pops right on there. So this, I'm planning to do this in walnut, of course, but you know, prototypes, we're just going to use the cheap stuff. Now, I'm planning to display this in here, something like that. But I don't want that down just on the base like that. I'd like to have it float, or not float, but raise it up somehow, elevate it. Yeah. So I ordered this this brass tubing. This is 3/32, and this fits over these pins. It's a little loose, but I can probably put a dimple in there, and it would hold on to it. Now I only need 2 of these connections, but I think I'm going to have connections on all 7 of these. So imagine all 7 of these on here. So it's kind of up on stilts. But I'm not really sure I like just attaching these directly to these pins because it looks, I mean, there's something missing. Like it looks like it's not wearing any pants. So I ordered some of these ceramic sockets. Yes, you can still buy these. So I think what I would have to do is like solder these onto these pins. Brass solders really well, so that should work all right. Also playing with this, I think these might be a little chunky. So I also ordered some 1/16, which Amazon shipped in an envelope. So half of it showed up like this. Ask your doctor if Xiaflex is right for you. I think with 7 of these together, this narrower stuff will look better. So I'm just going to cut off a couple of lengths here. Whoa. And this would just go in this socket like this. And then these would be soldered on. Yeah, close enough. Yep. Anyway, that's the basic idea. So what are you doing in there? Sorry, buddy, that's where you live now. So yeah, this is the basic idea. Straight, of course, but it's a little too straightforward, I think. I think we can do better. So my first thought was, and I'm not a very good illustrator, so my first thought was to have each of these kind of like spiral, something like that, right? And each one of these would do a full revolution, something, yeah. I think you know what I'm going for. But I've only got I got less than 2 inches to do this in, and to get these like consistent, I don't think I'd be able to accomplish this. My next thought was to do something inspired by a circuit board, something like that, which I kind of like. That would get complicated, or go a completely different direction, like have them flare out like this, kind of like a rocket taking off, or maybe do a little more like something like that. And also that way the base doesn't have all of this empty space around the perimeter. I kind of like both of these ideas, but I'm gonna model this up and see what it looks like. So I went ahead and modeled up the vacuum tube and the socket, of course, and here is what the leads look like straight. You know, like I said before, not very exciting. Sorry, I'm not bothering with lighting today or showering. And I went ahead and sketched out the flared, curved design that I drew up before, and that gets us this, which is it's kind of squid-like, actually, which I like, and actually gives me an idea for a whole other art project. Oh, and I also made some pants for this, a collar. This is just temporary. I'm not sure what this is gonna look like in the end, but it hides these connections under here. I can 3D print this, and I like this, but I don't know, I think it can be improved a little bit. Maybe make this the bottom section a little shorter, like that. Make the top a little longer. Whoa! What? Huh? Okay, it looks like it has to pee. This is kind of neat, but not physically possible, and electrically inconvenient. Put this back where it was. Yeah. What? I don't know how that happened. All right, so let's not do that. So if I change this, no, that's working just fine. In the sketch, it works just fine. But then it does that. What? It's flipping on me. I have no idea why it's doing that. Okay, I figured the problem out. It's fixed now. A little bit of math, a little bit of trial and error figuring that out. I'll probably go over that over on Patreon. I usually post a post-mortem video where I go into more details over some of these projects. If you're interested, there's a link down in the video description. The only question now is, do I want the curves farther up or farther down? Up or down? I think down. I think lower, yeah. And then I think maybe pull in that bottom diameter just a little bit. Like that. I think that looks good. I think like that. Yeah. All right, let's see if that works. But first, I've realized I need to go ahead and glue up a couple of wood blanks first. That way these will be dry when I'm ready to make the base of the display. And once again, I'm using my wedgie sled to make some segmented discs. That way the base will have nice edge grain all the way around the circumference. I like doing projects like these where I can combine disciplines like electronics and woodworking. Once these dry, I'm going to try my hand at a little bit of wood turning, which I actually haven't done that much of. But I can tell you about a great resource for learning skills like these. And right now, new members can get a full year's access for just $1.49. That's right, $1.49. And of course, that is over at Woodworkers Guild of America, which is a terrific online resource for anyone wanting to get into woodworking or for experienced woodworkers looking to hone their skills. With your membership, you get access to loads of woodworking instructions, ideas, and other information featuring seasoned creators hosting step-by-step video tutorials on myriad woodworking topics. Like, of course, wood turning. I myself have only a couple of small basic wood turning tools, but as a member, I can learn about more professional turning tools along with how to use them properly for projects both large and small. The first 1,000 of my subscribers to click the link down in the video description will get a full year of premium membership at Woodworkers Guild of America for just $1.49. That link is right down there. Now, back to those brass leads. I went ahead and cut out a little form over on the robot. I'm just going to put it in this little vise here. Anybody who has ever tried to bend a piece of metal knows that when you bend it and you let go, it springs back a little bit. That's called spring back. Why would you even ask? So I've exaggerated the curves just a little bit, and I just guessed at it. And put a little piece of tubing in there. And these bits should hopefully hold this down, keep it from lifting up. And this isn't perfect. I'm gonna have to kind of hold this with my hand. Wow, this is working a lot better than I expected. All right. Not as much spring back as I expected. Okay. And this is the desired result. Oh, not, That's, I overcompensated a little bit there. All right. Let me tweak it and we'll try again. Oh, wow. It's not 100%, but it's like 98%. I think that's close enough. Yeah. Wow, I can't believe that took only 2 tries. All right, I just got to do 6 more of those and then cut them to length. Do I get consistent results? Oh, that is f***ing lovely. I wonder if I could turn this with my drill. Nope. Went ahead and made a fixture, of course, for soldering. This half fits the socket in the correct orientation, and this half I've already mounted the pins in. Now, my soldering job is probably not going to be very pretty. I'm having trouble with my test solders, but we're going to forge ahead. I went ahead and tinned all these connections first. Hopefully that'll help. I found my bottle of flux, but it's very, very old. Oh, that might work. So why am I building a display for an old vacuum tube? Well, if I can keep this project on schedule, this video should go live on what would have been my dad's 79th birthday. He passed away a few years ago. This is his shop I'm using. He built this after he retired, having worked at an aerospace plant in the same windowless lab for almost 40 years. His job was to calibrate all the instruments that were used for building parts of fighter jets and rockets, maybe? I know they worked on part of the space shuttle at one point, although I don't know which. They were pretty secretive there. I was allowed access to the plant only 2 or 3 times over the years on very rare open house days. The last day was the day my dad retired when they held a small going away party. I got yelled at by his boss for taking a picture of his retirement cake, lest I inadvertently photograph some classified piece of equipment that was in the background, ready to be calibrated. A lot of the equipment there was old, dating back to at least the 60s, but it was specialized and it worked. Before my dad walked out of his lab for the last time, having worked there nearly 4 decades, I asked him if he was going to keep some souvenir of all of his time there, and he walked over to the to-be calibrated shelf, reached inside some big metal encased device, and he yanked out this. He said, "Here, this is the last vacuum tube I will ever pull," and he handed it to me. So this is to remember my dad and his love for gadgets and for fixing them. All right, it worked better than my test soldering anyway. Kind of looks like I made a woodworker's arc reactor with a box of scraps. And I know, cold soldered joint, yada, yada, yada. As long as it works. And only 2 of these have to work. There it is. All right, so I've kind of been lying to you up to this point. I apologize for the deception. This is not the last vacuum tube that my dad ever pulled. This is a duplicate that I got off of eBay. I didn't want to prototype with the real thing and risk breaking it. That has been in bubble wrap the entire time. Unfortunately, as difficult as it is to see the filament in this one, it's even more difficult to see it in the real thing. I'll show you what I mean. On the duplicate, the heater stuck up out of the cathode a little bit, making it easier to see, but on this one, it doesn't. You got to look down inside the cathode to really see it. It does, however, it does stick out of the bottom more, so you can see it down here, but at the top, not so easy. Now, even though you can't see it that well, I still plan to light the filament for sentiment's sake, but to make this a little more luminous, I thought I might add a tiny uplight. So what I've done is I carved a mock-up base here with just the important bits and dug up some various things from my bins of stuff. I've got some strip LEDs here. I've got some of these random modules from sign projects, but these are too big to fit in there. So I also found this, which came with something. Oh, there we go. We can pull that out. And this is USB powered, so it's 5 volts. I wonder if it would run off a 6, or better yet, would the filament run on 5? It does light up. Oh, there's a tiny difference in brightness between 5 and 6. You know what, at 5 it might even last longer. All right, how bright is this? Probably brighter than I need it, but might be okay. I also dug out a couple of lenses. This one's obviously too big. Got to use this on something though. And I got this one. I don't know what this came off of, but if this, ooh, it unscrews. Does this, oh, excellent. Oh, there we go. All right, let's, I should have drilled a hole in this. Let's drill a hole in this. Trying to make a little pocket for it in the back. Woo! Who was that? Who made that sound? I don't feel like waiting for my glue gun to heat up. That's not really focusing the way I hoped. I'm gonna have to play with this. Okay, I just spent like half an hour. I completely dismantled this thing, pulled out 6 or 7 different lenses, and I think I found one deep inside here. I had to power sand off the plastic bezel, but I think it's the right size, and I think it focuses it just enough that it gives me the accent that I'm looking for. And it still leaves the top dark enough that you can make out the filament. All right, now, just got to make the base. So yes, I am cheating a bit. I said I was going to hand turn this, but I do not trust myself to turn the inside of this and get all the correct depths and thicknesses correct. Plus, the top has to have precisely placed holes for the leads. All right, I realized I have already goofed. I didn't leave myself extra on the bottom here. This is the bottom of the base, and I need to turn this down to less than the diameter of these jaws. And I can't turn the top down and then flip it around and put it inside the jaws because this will be too big for the inside of the jaws. But I do have these other jaws. It's just a pair, there's not 4 of them. Maybe I could use these? Yeah, wouldn't you know it. It appears that these jaws open up to exactly the width of this and no more. So I can't tighten it on there. All right, well, I was hoping to hand turn at least part of this, give it a little personal touch, but I don't turn wood often, so I didn't even think to leave extra on here. However, I have already carved a spare one of these, and it is still clamped down to the table on the robot, so it's still centered up. So if I can figure out a way to carve the outside of it and still keep it clamped down, maybe I can salvage this. Okay, so I dug up this fender washer, I put a little foam underneath for some grip, and I should be able to screw this down through the center. I mean, this is gonna work, or it's gonna just create a pivot point and kill us all. Just gonna have to take it nice and slow. Is that free? Did it cut it free? It did. It worked. All right, well, file that under saving tricks. All right, now I still have an opportunity to screw this up because I have decided that I can at least do the edges. I promised Woodworkers Guild some wood turning. We're gonna get some wood turning. That's not centered, is it? Ah, well, screw it. Well, it's not perfect, but it's all right. That's just character. Now, I mentioned earlier, I think that I was gonna make this out of walnut, but what I accidentally pulled out of storage was a big piece of mahogany I didn't know was back there. I'm pretty sure it's an offcut that was brought over here from my dad's old garage workshop when he retired 20 years ago. So, appropriate. However, I do want this darker, so I'm going to stain it. You can register your complaints down in the comments. If it makes you feel better, though, I am going to stain the mahogany with mahogany. And I am not adding a switch. That way this will always be on.